Dumb deals. That's what Warren Buffett said about Kraft Foods buying Cadbury and the decision to sell its pizza.
Staying with Global News, if I had a chance to vote on this, I'd vote no, says Kraft shareholder Warren Buffett, the man you know as the Oracle of Omaha, and he's weighing in on the Cadbury deal. Here's Buffett in conversation with CNBC's Becky Quick, a conversation that took place just a couple of hours ago.
Cadbury accepting that raised offer. You voted no when they asked you if they could be issuing more shares, but what do you think about the bid now?
I feel poor. She's a first-class human being. She's done a perfectly decent job running Kraft. I think this deal is a mistake. I think selling the pizza business was a terrible mistake.
But the squirrel told me about an attempt by American company Kraft to buy Cadbury, and I felt a strong desire to tell you what I thought about it. There is a lady at Kraft called Irene who clearly needs to take it easy with her investors' money. She wants to buy my borough and the rest of Cadbury and has made a very disappointing offer for the company. Cadbury's chairman, Roger Carr, has told shareholders to reject the offer, and Bunny has to agree. Cadbury shareholders, don't give in to temptation and sell out to Kraft. Cadbury is doing very nicely on its own.
At the most basic level, at the consumer level, there was concern as to what they might do to everyone's much-loved Cadbury Dairy Milk recipe. Would they change it?
Sir Dominic Cabra's landmark lecture pinpointed the importance of ownership, values and rules surrounding free markets during the US food giant Kraft's takeover of Cadbury. It's a story which not only attracted headlines worldwide, but also
regulation rules, whereas in France this kind of thing wouldn't happen. And I do think it has and will have a really big damaging impact on the UK economy.
Here as well.
Not everyone would agree with Mr. Pexton. Irene Rosenfeld, Kraft chief executive, came under attack for being conspicuous by her absence during much of the takeover. In particular, she failed to attend the March meeting of the House of Commons Select Committee.
I mean, did you expect to see those demonstrations? There were Union Jacks out there, you know, being hung up in the public. People out there really feeling like they were worried about their jobs, you know, factory workers out there questioning what was going to happen to them.
I think there was clearly a stronger reaction than we might have expected for two reasons. One, because we have every intention to invest in the business and to grow it, and also because we have a pretty good track record of doing that. I feel very good.
I certainly hope that this deal doesn't go through. As I'm a stakeholder of Cadbury, I don't own any shares or whatever, but I buy their stuff and their products, and we totally love Green and Blacks. But from now on, we need to reconsider this, because although the chocolate is fantastic, the corporate identity will have changed so much that it is something to reconsider.
We are very excited. We were as excited today about the Cadbury acquisition as we were when we made the initial offer. It is transformational for the company. It sets us up on a very different growth trajectory, both in terms of the categories in which we participate, higher growth categories like snacks, the opportunity to have a broader geographic footprint, particularly in developing markets, and the opportunity to have more participation in faster growing immediate consumption trade chain. Cadbury is a British icon. It's one of the reasons we were so interested in it. It is an iconic brand. It is a beloved brand. And so the opportunity to continue to invest in that franchise and to grow it over time is something that's quite
I mean, did you expect to...
It is 1 year since Kraft, the US food group, nailed Cadbury after a highly hostile $18 billion takeover battle. People feared the Cadbury heritage would be trampled underfoot, jobs slashed, and that even the chocolate would taste different.
Cadbury's manufacturing plant in Bristol will be closed down by 2011, despite hopes for a reprieve for the 400 employees working there. The announcement was made by the US company Kraft Foods.
The business ties with the local community may be deepening, but there are still some concerns over how well the heritage will be preserved.
I think there is a danger that the heritage can get lost well, basically what they've bought is a series of brands, and great brands, and the brands will carry on trading. But underneath that, what underpins that yes, it could get lost. If you visit Cadbury today, if you walk into their main auditorium, which is beautiful now, it's a Grade 1 listed building which they've developed into a glass atrium. The central focus of that some years ago, well actually only a year ago, was a bust of George Cadbury, the founder. Where's the bust? It's disappeared. I actually went to the dentist there a couple of weeks ago and I found it lurking by number 2 lodge, which is the back door.
There are two ways to look at the Kraft deal. Okay, from a shareholder point of view, that's the Kraft shareholders, and from a synergy point of view. Kraft, in fact, doesn't really strongly argue that in the short term they're creating value for their own shareholders, because they're taking so much debt and they up their cash offer relative to stocks. That Warren Buffett's hostile response to the entire deal, I think, is symptomatic of what is going to happen to the share value, and he's certainly somebody who knows. But Irene Rosenfeld really argued the synergy argument. She argued that in the medium to long term, the synergies between Cadbury and Kraft are such that it will deliver value, maybe not in 8 months, but certainly in 2 or 3 years. Now, unfortunately, the synergy argument is a very dubious one. It's hypothetical and speculative, but we shall have to see.
You speak of, was this an acquisition too far for Kraft?
I think it may well be an acquisition too far. They pay too much, they overestimate the synergy possibilities, and they underestimate the difficulty of integrating two companies together. And it may well be that this is exactly what's going to happen in this case.
For Bourneville, it appears the worst fears have not been realised, at least not yet. At the end of this year, the guarantee on manufacturing jobs expires. At that time, too, Kraft will be under the gun to produce results from its $18 billion purchase. As the Cadbury Workers' Union points out, Kraft is highly leveraged and is going to have to pay down that debt somehow. Jobs may yet be a casualty.